Guys, this is the rate of fire test without the MOSFET. Okay, this is a tutorial on how to install a MOSFET. You can start by cutting off the area of wire between your battery connector and your motor tab right there. Once it's cut, you can continue by taking out the trigger contacts by unscrewing the little screw right there, just simply pulling it out. Once that's done, you can continue by soldering off one of the wires, this wire right here. Once that is done, you can attach this piece to the same connector on the trigger contact as the other wire is. Solder it like that. Once completed, you can take your MOSFET, find the positive and negative wires on your MOSFET. In this case, green is negative, white is positive, and match them to the wires coming from the trigger contact and the other one, which is already on the alligator clips. Don't forget to apply heat shrink before soldering these wires together. In this case, we can easily attach heat shrink with this motor connector. Heat shrink going down right there. And in this case, we will attach it beforehand. Now you can simply solder these two wires together. Once soldered together, you can remove it and you can use a heat shrink. Now since it's completed, you can take your smallest wire, in this case the purple wire, and solder it onto the empty tab on the trigger contact. Be sure to cut the purple wire to the correct length so that there's no extra hanging wire. Now you can just solder on the purple wire to the trigger contacts. Once completed, you can take out the trigger contact and reassemble it inside the gearbox. Once in the correct position, make sure the purple wire, in this case a very thin 122 gauge wire, does not interfere with the path of the pinion gear of the motor. You may need to push it down a little so it doesn't get caught in the pinion gear. Now we can test our MOSFET to see how much it has improved the gun's performance. Hey guys, we are now selling MOSFETs. We have two types so far. The first type is the 156 amp MOSFET with a 500 watt diode. This has no active braking, which is better for non-DMR guns because active braking MOSFETs heat up the motor and the MOSFET itself very quickly, or not very quickly, but faster than a regular MOSFET. This one will be $17, and this one also 156 amps, 500 watt diode. The only difference is that this one has a fuse, a self-resetting 30 amp poly fuse attached to it, so you don't need to buy a separate fuse. This one will be $20. Well, why a MOSFET? Well, MOSFETs protect your trigger contacts from frying and carbon buildup, which could cause a sticky trigger. They improve trigger response because unlike the regular trigger contacts, these are solid state and transfer electricity directly from your battery to your motor. And MOSFETs improve rate of fire just by a little bit. This one, unlike that one, has a fuse. The fuse acts like a regular fuse, except unlike the regular one, when the fuse is triggered, it doesn't break. It self-resets after cooling down. It's always good. If you are interested, you can message me via YouTube if you want, or email me at airsofttxenon@gmail.com.